Hey guys, it's Momtourage, the podcast about being a mom that thinks that most mom stuff is super boring. So we created our own posse. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Carrie, and we are ready to walk you down the red carpet of motherhood.
Hi guys.
Hi everybody. Happy Thursday.
Thursday's like such an exciting day now. We
It's like
we
back
party.
It's like it when we were in college. Wasn't Thursday your like going out night in college?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually every night I think was my going out night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God bless. Mine was not.
I was a party animal from young.
Oh my goodness.
Not so much anymore.
Anyway,
we digress.
we're not party animals anymore, except right here.
We're a sip of a drink in and we're ready to go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh.
I didn't know how to do
Speaking
that.
of, should we talk about our
Yes,
drinking
let's talk
game?
about our drinking game. Okay, so
That's good.
as many of you know, so smooth, and look at the beautiful color. Anyway, as many of you know, Ashley always seems to bring the topic back around to Bravo.
Always.
Always. Like she can pretty much bring anything back to Bravo.
I don't do it on purpose. It's just like a
I know,
real
it's-
love and it's like fun to talk about. You know, it's just fun.
I know you have a deep love for it.
Yes.
But for today, our drinking game, which I feel like we didn't describe it very well last time.
Let's describe it.
All right. So every time Ashley brings it back to Bravo,
Yes.
bringing it back on down to Bravo,
Right.
you have to take a drink and we'll take a drink too.
Yes.
And we'll try to like make a thing of it so that when we mention it, we'll stop, take a drink, and hopefully you'll take a drink too of whatever kind of beverage you have.
We're working on getting like a button or something like that.
Or we were going to do like an air horn, but nobody needs to hear that at 9
No.
p.m. at night.
No.
No.
But today we have our first sponsored drinking game, which is
That's
super
right.
exciting. We are working with Standard Woodworm. It's
Wormwood.
sorry,
Standard
I had
Wormwood.
dyslexia for a moment there.
Standard
Jeez.
Wormwood.
But Wormwood Agave Tequila, it's like very smoky.
It's smoky and smooth at the same time. They have all sorts of spirits. The Standard Wormwood Distillery. They're located in Industry City in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
It's super cute place. They have outdoor seating. It's super fun place to go to in Brooklyn. And this tequila, this agave tequila is absolutely delicious.
And if I may say so, it's almost like a mezcal.
Yes, very much like a mezcal.
Really good.
And we made tonight a little cocktail with grapefruit juice, this delicious tequila, a little club soda and lime, a little salt on top. It's like, you know, our Paloma. It's so good.
Yeah, we should call it the Rage Paloma.
That's terrible. We're
Momtourage
not-
Paloma?
the
All right,
rage.
we didn't rehearse
Anyway,
that part.
we didn't obviously.
Uh,
Whoa, obviously we need rehearsal. Anyway, we've got an absolutely fabulous show for you today. You want to talk about it, Ash?
Yeah, so today our guest is going to be Kate Casey of Reality Life with Kate Casey. We are going to be talking all reality. Case in point, my Dorinda inspired sweatshirt.
We were on her show and we just had the best time.
The
And
best.
it's Ashley's wet dream, like talking
Yes.
about reality television.
There's a text chain.
Yes,
group-
we are
group
actual
chat.
friends. She is actually part of the Momtourage. And so we're so excited to have her on today. And as usual, we have our
Drinking and dishing.
dishing.
So, all right, I want to start today.
Okay, I'll take a drink.
I have told
You
you,
also
guys.
can drink when there's not a drinking game, by the way.
Thank you for that
You're
permission.
welcome. You're welcome.
We've told you guys that my husband Matt is our control room director. So I'm going to air this grievance with him here, and that is he has not gone to a doctor. Yeah, I'm looking right at you. He has not gone to a doctor. He refuses to find a doctor. He won't do it unless I do it.
This is
and
why
it
women live longer.
Yes.
This is one of the main reasons why women
It's
live longer.
also why Eve Rodsky wrote Fair Play. But
Exactly.
that's neither here nor there.
Shaw back last week. No, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. Do you deal with that?
Lee will make his own doctor's appointments. However, I usually find the doctors for him. I cultivate good doctors. I've always had really good doctors. So
Yeah.
I find them for him. And I also usually go on Facebook and I'm like, anybody got a good doctor
Right.
for this? Whatever. So I will find him the doctor, but he will make his own appointment.
But like I barely have time to wipe my ass the amount of times I need to get like a clean wipe.
Yeah.
At this
That was
point
like
in my life,
four. You must have a
sometimes it's
sloppy
more.
ass.
Sometimes it's more. Sometimes
Woo!
it's none.
All
You know.
right.
I don't know. It's just it's a real pet peeve.
I'm
In
gonna
other
start
news,
calling you sloppy Astley because that was
You-
a sloppy wipe.
Sure.
Anyway, that's not.
I mean,
anyway, more
fine.
rehearsal. Bring it back to the drawing board. Anyway, go.
My other thing that I wanted to mention is, do you know what the show Pen 15?
Yes.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Pen 15, it's on Hulu. It just premiered its second season, I think, on Friday. It's basically anyone who is my age, who was in the 7th grade around 1998. This is your show. You will relate to it on a whole other level. It's so enjoyable. Have you watched the second season at all?
No, I just watched the first one.
There's an episode where they take a small foray into being Wiccans. Like I literally did that, and it was not for anything other than that's what everyone else was doing. Yeah, we were bored, and it was like, let's put some berries in a hole and say some words, and
That's why Ashley is the way she is today, guys.
Yeah, that's that and so many other reasons. But it's a really fun show. It's lighthearted. You guys know I love
and
that.
the actresses who are like in their 30s play themselves in high school, which is a feat
in
unto
7th grade.
itself. Yeah,
7th grade, and everyone else is a child.
Yes, it's believable. Weirdly,
it's so
it's good.
It's hilarious. It is so good, and it's like Schitt's Creek is over.
Yep.
Roni is over. Tonight's the last reunion episode. So if you just need something fun and lighthearted, Pen 15.
Pen 15.
That's what I have to say about
Lovely.
that. That's my drink and dish.
Lovely.
What's yours?
Okay, so my foot just like grazed yours for a second. Also, I'm sweating so much. This is evidently sweatshirt day on Momtourage.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like fall ready in our sweatshirts, but the studio lights, the sweating. Anyway, mine is that it's real. We're finally moving. We are finally moving. We hired movers. We've got a move date. It's in like 2.5, 3 weeks. I'm gonna take a drink right now.
Moving's the worst thing in the world also.
And I've done it. I didn't do it very much. I've only been in three apartments in my entire 20 years in New York, which is kind of amazing. But in the last 2 years, I've moved twice.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. We're looking at furniture. I have to think about packing up my apartment and move into a home, which is fun.
You're not actually packing though.
No, I mean, we'll have to do some packing, but we're hiring movers.
I think that's amazing. I want to never have to actually pack or move again.
I mean, you do still have to, but it's less than normal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot more Excel spreadsheets than physical.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. We're too old for that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to move, but also it's like bittersweet because I can't have a going away party. I've lived in New York for over 20 years.
But you're not going to Iowa. You're going to New Jersey.
When I say Ireland, I'm like, I'm not going to Ireland either. The other thing I just have to say is poop is weird. Poop is so weird.
Okay.
I can elaborate.
Yeah.
Do you want me to elaborate?
I guess.
Lately, guys, TMI, like this is totally, we're going to lose a lot of audience right now. My poop has been so weird lately. Like I poop and then the smell, and when I look at it, it looks like another person's poop. Like usually your poop has its own certain aroma in general, and it's got its own certain consistency. It varies between maybe 1 to 3 consistencies per person I've found in my deep poop study.
We lost 2 followers.
This will be very short, guys. But it's been real different lately, and I don't think there's anything wrong with me. Just poop is weird.
Poop is weird.
That's all I got to say. All right.
Love poop.
All right, followers, you didn't need to hear us anyway. We like to talk about poop.
In other drinking and dishing news, for those of you out there who haven't heard, the CDC has issued some guidelines for this COVID Halloween that we're about to embark on.
I feel like it's almost like Hurricane Sandy Halloween, which is it just almost didn't exist. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
They canceled Halloween.
Yeah, I think I wasn't.
And then there was another Halloween right around Sandy where there was like a crazy snowstorm where they also canceled Halloween.
Yeah. I don't think I cared. Now
I knew this because I was a bartender and I made so much money when they canceled Halloween. That's the only reason why I knew that. Anyway.
I also feel like this is common sense. So much of this, I wear masks. So maybe what's common sense to me is not common sense for everybody.
Also, we're getting Momtourage face masks. Get ready in our swag section.
They've been ordered. So just make room for it. They're real cute. We're not going to say anything more than that, though. So these are what they're calling high-risk Halloween activities: door-to-door trick-or-treating, hosting a Halloween party in your house with other people.
Wearing a mask.
That's not this kind
That's
of
not
mask.
this kind of mask, yeah.
Um,
Especially if you share that mask with somebody else.
yeah.
Yeah.
Going to a haunted house. So, what's that one in the city that's been open forever? That
Blood
sucks. Yeah, Blood Manor.
Manor,
Blood
yeah.
Manor's out of business this year.
Group hayrides, not a great idea.
So what they're calling low-risk Halloween activities are carving and decorating pumpkins, decorating your house, scavenger hunt where children admire Halloween decorations at a distance.
That's cheesy as hell.
That sounds
That's
awful.
so cheesy.
A Halloween night. So basically, what you do all of October.
Right.
Not Halloween.
Ashley and I just decided, I'm going to say this because Ashley hates me saying this word, and I'm going to say it one more time. Ashley and I have decided that our kids are going to wear their costumes together, and I'm going to get a Halloween-themed piñata.
I just think it's funny the way you say it.
Piñata. And then we're going to get their Halloween candy that way. That way there's like some festivity. They're wearing a costume. They feel like they're doing something.
Yeah. And then maybe we'll walk around the neighborhood at night or something.
Yeah.
But the CDC also says if you do high-risk activities and develop COVID-related symptoms, or if you test positive for COVID, immediately contact the host and others that attend the event or celebration that you attended. Again,
which is what you're supposed to do anyway.
You should do that.
You should be doing this anyway.
Right.
Anyway.
But anyway, today we have a fun surprise giveaway. We're not going to share just yet until the end. But this is what our giveaway question is. We want to know if your life was a reality show, what would it be called?
Ashley, do you have an answer for yours?
No, I don't.
Maybe by the end of the show.
Welcome to the shit show. Which is, I feel like, is not creative at all. But
no, I feel like people would watch though.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
You know, original Jersey Shore. Because I'm originally from the Jersey Shore.
That's good.
I don't know.
Real Italian Jersey Shore?
Yeah, Italian. I mean, I don't know. I'll come up with something more creative, but I don't have the bandwidth right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
But we want to hear from you guys because, again, there is a surprise giveaway at the end of the show.
And you guys have time to think about it.
Idea. Yeah. All you have to do is leave your comment below here at Facebook, or you can text us at our number, 918-352-MOMS. Shall we do it? Are we ready?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Our next guest is a mother of 5. She is the host of the huge podcast, Reality Life with Kate Casey. Please welcome the amazing Kate Casey.
We've been dying to do that.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We have been dying to do the incredible,
the amazing
Kate Casey. We've been dying.
You know, I have I had the great fortune of this band. It's a brother and 3 sisters, and they have been listening to my show for a long time. And when I started, I asked them if they would write a song for me, and that's what they came up with. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. But I feel sort of like a jerk because it's like the amazing Kate, but I think it's really like a fun song. It's catchy.
It gives me joy.
Yes.
In my car on my way here, I was listening to one of your episodes and I was like, it makes me so happy. So it doesn't matter if it makes you look anyway, it doesn't matter because it's so fun.
And it's very Casey Kasem, which is like,
oh my God, my whole life. I listen to that. Are you related to Casey Kasem? I'm like, no, it doesn't make sense. Okay, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you for coming on the show. We love you. We introed you by saying that we actually have like a group thread chat.
A real friendship.
We are real friends. That's correct. Yes.
It's really nice. It's cool.
Yeah.
And we really love Reality Life. Congrats on your 4-year anniversary. 4 years.
Thank you. Yeah, 4 years. Yep.
That's like 100 years in podcast.
You're an innovator. You're an innovator.
So how did you get started with this? Like what is the origin story to reality life?
Well, it's my second chapter. Like my second chapter kind of busy life kind of thing. I started off, I have a degree in political science. I worked at the White House. I thought I would work in politics. I got a job after college doing media consulting for global law firms and did that for a long time. Then I have my first child. And I still felt like this gnawing, like this nagging sensation. Like I have to pursue this other thing that I love, which was comedy. I always had these buckets of things I wanted to do. I wanted to do journalism. I loved sports. I loved comedy, and I loved politics. So first chapter, I get journalism and politics out of the way. So it's like, the comedy thing was always kind of tugging at me. So my friends, or my husband's best friend, said, you got to start writing. And I did that. So I started doing television recaps of reality shows. And it was like fan fiction where I would exaggerate situations, add dialogue. And then I started to get invited on podcasts. And I thought, I kind of think it would be fun if I created a show where I could track down people that had been on reality shows years ago and kind of find out, how did it change your life? What was the trajectory afterwards? And from that,
that's a great concept, by the way.
Yeah, it was like, what happened to you? How did it change your life? But I also wanted
you got Eric from the Grind original.
Yep. Eric.
Wow.
Yeah. So I structured it from the beginning like a talk show in segments. So it wasn't just like one long form interview, because I felt like people are pretty like, especially moms, they're kind of like, okay, I got it. Like, let's move on. So I structured it like a talk show. And it's still like that. And in the front end of the show, it was usually an interview with somebody who had been on a TV show or created a show. And then the back end was asking a random person to review a reality show. And by random, I mean, it could be a plumber from West Virginia. It could be a comedian in Los Angeles. It could be somebody who runs like an executive recruiting firm in New York City. Always different, because I think that people's perspectives are so funny because we all have our own lens. So that's kind of what it began as, and it's sort of shifted into what I would call the unscripted umbrella. So I'm covering shows that are reality shows, documentaries, and docuseries. And it's a blast because I get to watch TV all day and talk to people and learn their stories, and I have a great time.
My big question is, how do you produce 2 shows a week with all those children?
People ask me that all the time. The truth is this: you can find time to do anything that you love. If you think about, if you have a shitty job, I had a shitty job before. I got burned out. I hated working with law firms. I thought people were just jerks, and I hated going to work. So it was easy to just discount things like, I don't have enough time. But once I started doing this, I just felt so happy to be working. And I also think this, and lots of people do disagree with me, but if you want to get shit done, you give it to somebody with a lot of kids. I'm just really good at time management. You have to be if you have a lot of kids.
Yeah, makes sense. So what really began this love of reality TV? What was the show that kind of like
your gateway show?
Yeah, your gateway show. That's the word.
The gateway drug. Yeah. It was the real world. I was home. I went to a boarding school and I went home for a weekend. And my mom was running errands or something, and I started watching, and I never left the TV. I was totally sucked in. And so it was the first one? The real world. Yeah, it was like playing on a marathon, and I just watched every episode, and I was transfixed. And I have this superpower. It's like a photographic memory, but specific to people, details about people. So I remember everything about everybody. It's like useless information about people. So I could watch an episode of a show and remember all the details about somebody. So I wanted to know, well, what happened to Julie? And did she ever talk to Eric Nice again? And what about the scene where they're roller skating? Like, I found that it became useful when I started to interview people, because I could remember everything about not only the show that they filmed, but the information that I'd read in articles throughout the years. And I just really love talking to people. I consider myself a very curious person. And I think that television's a great connector. It's a great conversation starter. So I've had the great privilege of interviewing everybody from garbage people to glorious people on shows that are garbage, and then shows that are glorious. So it's been fun.
I actually I was teaching yoga with a woman who was on one of the Real Worlds. She was a rapper turned, I think it was
Heather B.
2 or 3, New York.
Heather B.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's hilarious.
Yeah. So that was, I was teaching in New York at Yoga Works with her. Amazing.
Finally, it's happened. Scene with Julie. Yeah.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone I'm working off my phone here. So one thing that you alluded to, because I've just been binging, I've had a lot of long car rides with my daughter. And when she falls asleep, I just immediately turn on your podcast. So a couple episodes ago, and you had alluded to it a little bit, I think, when we were talking, that you had kind of like a tricky childhood, and I also had kind of a tricky childhood. And you said like for more details on that story, you can go to my Patreon page. And I'm like, all right, going right now because I want to hear the tricky story. So do you think that your childhood, if you want to speak to that at all, and do you think that your childhood has any impact on why you like reality TV so much?
I think I'm an innately curious person. That's to start with. And I think that despite the circumstances of my childhood, which were very tumultuous, that I was raised in a home where my mom encouraged me to be a thinker and to ask questions. So that's just fundamentally, I'm a curious person, and I was encouraged to ask questions of people and talk. My mom would go to the grocery store, and it was like pulling teeth to get her out. And unfortunately, I'm the same kind of person now. My kids are like, shut up. My husband's like, you're a black hole, get away from people. So that helped. And then I felt like I had a really difficult childhood. And then I went to this boarding school for essentially kids from the wrong side of the door of opportunity, many under the poverty level. So the kind of kids I went to school with have very different names, came from horrific family situations. So I have two things. I'm like really direct and hard, not hard, but like I'm tough on people.
Cut through the shit.
Pick yourself up. I'm direct. Yeah, I cut through it. But I also think that I have space of like, I have empathy for people. And I think that's a good mix when you're interviewing people, because you have to kind of let yourself walk in someone else's shoes and have the patience to let them tell their story, never to make it about yourself, and to grant them the space and the grace to just let themselves pour themselves out. And so I do think that if you are, unfortunately, if you're like us and you've had a difficult childhood, that's the one great thing that comes out of it, is this strength of character. I kind of think we're all born with like a survivor chip, and we all use it in our own ways. And for me, it's just been a good way of finding commonality with people. I kind of feel like I can find something in common with almost everybody. And I also think that when you have a difficult childhood, you develop a great sense of humor, because it's a great coping skill.
That is
and so
absolutely
the other thing is like,
yeah.
I think like almost everything's funny. Almost. Most things.
I always say like there's pretty much almost nothing I can't make a joke about.
Right. Yeah, I know you did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you think that aspect of your life influenced having children? Because one of the things you said to us was that you alluded to the fact that it was kind of healing to have 5 children.
Kids. Yeah. I think a lot of people look at me like I'm a Duggar. Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
I just laughed.
Control. Like, just what the hell's wrong with you? But for me, I don't have this large extended family, and for me, it's like when you break the cycle, you start at the ground floor. I'm building the foundation so my kids have a big, full, fun family. And so when somebody asks me like, what's the point of all these kids, I tell them I always thought of the Thanksgiving table in the future. So I want a long table that's filled with people laughing. And so it's really hard work now, but it's going to pay off, because I want my kids to look around and feel like they have a ton of support around them. And that's just not something I grew up with. So, and also, sometimes people will say, are you nuts? But I always remind them, well, do you have aunts and cousins? Like, you probably may have a small immediate family, but you have a huge extended family, and I don't have that. So I'm just building from the ground up.
Also, do people actually say that? Because that would be so rude.
People tell me all the time that I don't know that I'm selfish for only having one child.
Really?
I can imagine people probably say stuff to you also.
I just think it's interesting. This is me being a bad interviewer because I'm making it about me, which is just the tenet you told not to do. But because I came from a tricky childhood, although I did also want to break the cycle, I was so nervous to have my own child. I waited a really long time because I was just afraid like some of those like childhood demon kind of things would, but eventually, with enough therapy, you work through everything. And I do feel like you break the cycle, but I was more on the opposite side. I was more hesitant than I was to like dive right into it.
I do think that with that comes, I always kind of felt like, especially when they were for my first kids and they were really little, that motherhood, when you've come from a hard childhood, is like you fill a lot of holes, but then more holes open up because you're confronted with what you did not have. And then you're happy because you have this new love and this unconditional love and this great family life, but you're also mourning what you did not have. And sometimes you don't even get it until you hold your own child and you think of like all the things that you would do for them. My dad abandoned me when I was like 2, and I didn't talk to him until I was like 32. Like, I miss my kids when I go to CVS. So it's like, I can't even comprehend. He tries to have conversations with me. I'm like, what? Like, we have different value systems. I don't understand him. So it's really interesting. And I'm sure there will be another wave of that when my kids become teenagers. And I can think about all the conversations that I needed to have with a parent at that age. So it's really interesting. I think you should always surround yourself with mom friends who have very different life experiences from you, because you can learn so much and it can help you tremendously as a parent if you can hear about their life experiences. Because if you only surround yourself with people that have lived the same way, you won't evolve and you'll be super boring.
So what do you look for in your mom friends then? What do you look for in your momtourage?
Momtourage has to be really smart. I can't deal with people that are like ding dongs. They have to be like interested in the world around them and other people. They have to be equal parts empathetic and ass kickers. I don't enjoy sanctimonious people, like people that think that their way is the only way. I find that to be very, very boring. But really loving, giving, and funny. Funny is really important.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So you also said, which was in our text string, that you enjoy childbirth. Like you really enjoy.
And there was a video to go along with it, which was incredible.
I'm still trying to comprehend, because I always say that I love having a child, but I didn't like being pregnant, and my birth was not great. So, but I love having a kid, and it is. But what is it that you love about the birth, like the actual birth?
Well, I think it's the greatest athletic achievement of all time. So I think other people like get they have like marathon porn where they want to do like marathons and run. Like, that's not my gig. The whole process I think so fun, and to feel the kicking, and I'm the kind of person that's a nut bag, and I'm doing like workouts all the way up until the end. So I always
like athletics, yeah.
Like I feel physically the best that I can. It's like you're eating great. I'm getting way more sleep because I'm tired, because I'm pregnant, and people are like, oh, take a nap. Your skin looks better. Your hair is better. So physically I feel great. I'm probably not drinking as many margaritas, obviously. And then it's like Christmas morning where you're like, I don't know what day they're going to be born. I don't know what they're going to look like. And then I always have friends in the room, because when I was growing up, my mom would always say, your father, he didn't even show up to the delivery room. I was all alone, and it just stuck with me. And I just made it, I was like, when I have kids, it's going to be so joyous, because I want to tell them it was the greatest day in their, in the world. People were flipping out about it. So I always have like, I'm not even exaggerating, like 10 friends in the room. And it's awesome. And the nurses, they know me by now, and my friends bring champagne, and my husband's like, this is disgusting. And he's in the corner and he's like banging away on his laptop. Like one time my sister got to cut the cord and she thought it was disgusting, which was funny in itself. And then I've had friends that have cut the cord. It's just, I'm surrounded by all these women, and they're all moms, and they've said such great things. Like, to be able to see it reminds me how strong I am and how incredible the moment was when I had a baby, and what a gift it is. And also they're so bonded to my kids then. And it's great, because I'm like, oh, this is Christina. Christina saw 2 kids come out of my vag. It's just like such a bonding. I'm like, are you sure you don't have PTSD from it?
I wish I'd met you before I had my babies, because I love your outlook.
Yeah.
And like, it feels literally like this is such an overused phrase, but it feels like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Oh yeah. I'm like a nerd. Actually, last night I was like, oh, I really want another baby. I get really like, bummed when I see a pregnant woman. Not that I'm not happy for them, but I'm like, oh God, I wish I was pregnant. Like, cuckoo bird, cuckoo. Yeah.
Well, if we want to make this into a reality television show, if you want to have another baby, but you want to give it to me because I want another baby, but I do not want to go through it again, we can work on that. We'll create a reality show around it. Just
Okay.
I'll just be the sidekick for both of you. I'm good on all fronts, but I do get sometimes when Kylie Jenner, when it came out, she hid her pregnancy the whole time, and then she released that video that was like so sentimental and set to music. I think Sebastian was maybe a year old, and I was like, I think I got another baby now, because it was a highlight reel of pregnancy, But
yeah, it is
either that or a lipstick line.
I'm always very sentimental on their birthdays too. Like I'm really mean.
Me too.
I'm very mean, and they do a lot of schoolwork, and I do give a lot of lectures, etc. But then it's their birthday, and I'm a mess. It's a mess for me.
I tell Sebastian his birth story the night before his birthday every year, and he's 3, so there's gonna be a lot of that. All right, so we have a fun game for you.
Okay.
We have a couple, but this one is just our hot goss quick fire, just some fun facts we want to know about you.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. All-time favorite reality show.
Okay, it was called My Big Fat Obnoxious Fiance.
Oh, I remember that on like TLC, right?
No, it was on Fox.
Oh.
And they had this couple, and they both thought that they were hired to pretend they were getting married and to convince their families, and that they were in love and they were going to get married. And at the wedding ceremony, then they would reveal, oh, we're not actually going to get married. But what the bride didn't know is that the groom was trying to sabotage it the whole time. He was an actor, and it was absolutely hilarious. I just met my husband. We were on vacation in Hawaii, and we watched it, and we couldn't stop watching it. By the way, he hates reality shows. I was crying, laughing. The groom was played by Steven on the bartender and Grey's Anatomy. He was so funny, and it was just so great. And I wish that there were more shows like that. It was like just one season, super clever, really funny.
If I may say, I think that Fox does a really great show a really great job with the reality shows. They're so kind of like, there's always an element of trash to it that's like so fun and easy, like Joe Millionaire or The Swan or even Labor of Love, which Labor of Love was a little too slow. I wish it had more to it, but
yeah, that could have been 2 episodes. Like, let's call it a day. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a fun spin to it. All right.
Okay, so what is the reality show that you're most into right now?
Right now, Real Housewives of Potomac's okay. Sometimes
T'Challa,
I'm like,
shining star T'Challa.
But sometimes I'm like,
oh yeah.
Are these actually women that have been like studying the show for all these years and they're extra? Because they don't really live anywhere near each other, so it doesn't really make sense. But then you have these scenes where like Karen is confessing that she and her husband aren't connected anymore, which is obviously you can understand because she's going into a new chapter in her life and suddenly she's making money and she has a job and she gets attention and that guy wants to retire. So there are things like that where I'm like, oh, that's interesting. The best reality shows are ones where it's a peek into someone's real, like a window into someone else's world.
Yeah.
So that one I find kind of interesting. I do think that there's sort of a lull in reality shows, but I think they're unbelievable documentaries and docuseries to watch right now. Like right now, I'm obsessed with The Vow on HBO about Nexie and Nicole.
I am too. I've done the deep. That was the episode that I was listening of yours in the car.
Yeah, you gotta listen to
because
that.
I am really into cults, ghosts, and conspiracy theories. Those are like my genres.
Genre. You should meet my psychic friend Jonathan Mark.
We want to meet your psychic friend.
Yeah, he works with like the FBI and does cases.
That's like what, like I pray, I tell Ashley this all the time. I'm like, I hope I move into a haunted house and a ghost tells me that something happened to them. Sort of like Ghost Whisperer, Jennifer Love Hewitt. I want to be able to help solve a murder from a ghost encounter. That's what I want.
I'm wishing for you too.
Thank you. Maybe if we all wish hard enough. But no, I'm super into The Vow. And I listened to the podcast that was about The Vow before that.
Oh, so with the cult director, but yesterday's is going to blow your mind because it was with Frank Parlato from the Frank Report.
Oh no, I did watch that. No, I'm saying I listened. There was a podcast that was just about Nexium, like that came out last year. So I had listened to that series. No, I listened to Frank on the way here.
My show?
Yes.
Did you hear what he said about what was really planned for the vow renewal ceremony?
Yes.
Oh God, I gotta get into this show.
And the thing about the cancer, I had no idea.
Yes. Can you believe that?
Oh, I'm going to do a deep dive on the Frank Report because I am into
and he's coming
poisonings.
Back. He's coming back and doing a Q&A. So rest assured, this is not the end of it.
And I literally, in my notes, when we were stopped, there was traffic at the Holland Tunnel. I was like, docu-series with Frank about the forgotten girls I was like,
oh my God,
so good.
Okay, the other one I want you to watch is called Little White Lies. I'm kind of obsessed with it right now. And it's this documentary. It's from 5 years ago, but I just found it on Amazon Prime. And this woman, what, Jack? See, my kids bother me. So it was this documentary where this woman she grew up in Woodstock, Jewish family, but her skin's darker. And the whole family is like, what are you talking about? What's going on? So then she goes to high school and her boyfriend's mixed race. And he's like, you're like probably black. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then she goes to Georgetown and she submits the picture for the application and they put her in the Black Student Alliance. And she's like, this is weird. So then she asks her parents and then it unravels this family secret that her father was really black. And so you get to meet her parents, her relatives, and she takes you through and like interviews her family members. And it's great. And then she goes to the funeral of her father. I was like, it was such bliss for me. My husband came home and I went, I just love people's stories. And he's like, you're really weird. But it's like a perfect window into someone else's world. And it's fantastic about this woman's life and race. And she's married to a congressman from New York.
I love those.
His last name is Delgado. Do you know Congressman Delgado?
It does sound familiar.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. All-time best reality celebrity interview, like a reality star interview.
That I interviewed or I want to interview?
That you interviewed already.
Oh, it's too hard to say. There's so many. I have like a top 10 list I just put out. I can't name one. I'll say
Give me a couple.
The most inspiring person was Kathy Kleiner, who survived Ted Bundy's attack in her sorority at FSU in the 70s.
Wow.
She was the most inspiring person, like the most kick-ass person ever. Marcus Lemonis from The Prophet on CNBC opened up about how he found his adoptive parents. He found out he was not really Greek, but from Syria. He also opened up about being the victim of child abuse, which I didn't expect. And I thought was like really compelling. I loved my interview with
a Barbara Walters moment for you.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, wow. Michael Jordan's biographer, I interviewed about The Last Dance on ESPN about the Bulls season, and he made me cry. Tomorrow's episode, I have a guy who was on The Real World New Orleans, and we both cried. He was dating somebody at the time who was in the military, and he became this accidental advocate as this like poster child for Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and then opened up about 2 years ago that he was HIV positive. So he talked to me about like what it's like to be living with HIV today, and also what really happens when people go off the real world and they get spit out of a tornado and have to like make sense of their life afterwards. And I think it was a really frank and honest conversation and very moving. And I loved him. His name's Danny Roberts, and that's on tomorrow.
Yes, I remember him.
So gorgeous.
So this is a new favorite question of ours to ask every person we have on. What's the weirdest Instagram account you follow? Like I have like I follow a lot of like baby animal accounts, like pig-centric.
I don't really like animals that much. I mean, I have a dog, but I'm like, I don't really care. Probably I like Du Moi, which is like celeb, kind of like fun gossip, I guess. I don't know. I'm sort of like a news person, so I follow a lot of news ones. I think my friends are really funny. I don't really follow weird ones, I don't think. Oh, I follow gluten-free ones because I actually like to bake and cook. So that's about as weird as I get.
That's fun. All right. Next game. It's a short, it's This Is Your Life reality show edition. So we're going to give you a couple of choices and you're going to pick which one you prefer.
Okay.
Okay. And you can tell us why.
It's a this versus a that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Naked and Afraid versus Survivor.
Survivor. I'm not going to be naked. Forget it. No.
I love Naked and Afraid.
Me too.
That's like me and my partners go on the honeymoon watch show. Bachelor versus Labor of Love.
Bachelor. Labor of Love was so dumb.
It was
Sorry.
so slow and boring.
And by the way, she didn't even end up with a guy anyway. Waste of my time.
You didn't?
No,
I couldn't even see it through. I gave
Exactly.
it 5
You didn't
episodes
care.
or something.
Oh, horrible.
John and Kate +8 versus the Duggars.
That's a toss-up because John and Kate +8 lived in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where I went to boarding school. So I would watch it and there was a sense of nostalgia. However, I really considered them to be very strange. I did interview John Gosselin and I actually ended up liking him. So I'm going to go with John and Kate. I did interview one of the
Was
Duggars.
he wearing an Ed Hardy shirt when you interviewed him?
No, but I found him to be pretty actually a good dad. Because he was
You're
like,
not-
listen, I work at Applebee's and people make fun of me, but you know what? At least I have a job where I'm not making money off of my kids. And at the end of the day, I have to look at them in the eye and say, I made money that had nothing to do with you having to work. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm taking
You're
my
not
friend.
the first person I've heard say that about John Gosselin. Even though
I
we all
liked him.
want to dislike him, I've heard he's like a real good guy.
Yeah, I like him.
Newlyweds versus the Ashley Simpson show.
Oh, Ashley Simpson's show. My friend was on that. He was her music producer. So that's a hard one. I'm going to say Nick and Jessica because I like shows where it's like celebrities who want you to think they're perfect. And then it was the small moments where like her mom was yelling at her father, like, we have to do their laundry. And I was like, oh God, this is a bad relationship.
I recently rewatched that about like a year ago on YouTube, and
Yeah.
I was just blown away because I watched it when it was originally on, but I was blown away. I was like, man, this is slower moving than I remember it, and like Nick Lachey's an ass.
Yeah, but you could tell there was such frustration between Nick and the father.
Yeah.
It was like Nick must have been like, get the hell out of my house.
Out of my house.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is my wife. But you realize in hindsight that she was way too young to be married.
Oh, for sure. For sure. She was like 22.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Flavor of Love versus Rock of Love.
That's a tough one. I'm going to go with Flavor of Love. My favorite episode of all time is episode 121. I interviewed the director of both of those shows, and he told a story about a contestant on Flavor of Love that made me laugh so hard. The poop.
Yes, it's the best.
I was laughing so hard. At first, it was like laughing loud, and then it became silent laughing.
Yep.
That's how good the story is. So listen for that one.
I have to listen to that. My husband and I reference that every time where he goes, I like you, but I can't take you anywhere. You just pooped on the floor. And we can all relate to that statement.
That's how I feel about my child.
One other thing he said about Bret Michaels was, you can hear it in the interview, he said, well, Bret never dated anybody because he always had groupies. So we had to teach him, like, when you go on a date, you have to say, how are you? What do you do for a living? Where are you from? And I was like, oh my God, that's disgusting. He didn't know how to date anybody because he was like,
also makes me
he
sad.
would open a door and a girl would go and like come in and go down on him.
That also makes me sad because how many other things is he just so lacking? Because that's like interpersonal skills.
Hairline?
There's a lot of things, yes, but it's like you're really missing some real important life skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like not having your hair attached to a bandana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The little things, really.
Oh, this is really my question. Can I ask this?
Yeah,
one?
it's yours.
The Vow or Wild Wild Country?
Oh dear God.
Isn't this hard? It's like this is Sophie's choice.
That's a real Sophie's choice. I think it depends on the day, if you will.
Yeah.
By the way, here's a story. My friend lived next door in LA to Wild Wild Country, the Rajneeshis.
Yeah.
And her one friend, an actress, famous actress, she would come over to visit and she would just open the door and just say these chants. They were all chanting next door. And that was how, like, they were so convincing to get people to join. They would just do these chants and wear monochromatic outfits. And their friend was just like, coming to hang out. And she was like, whatever it was, like red rum or whatever it was. She started saying, and they're like, what is wrong with you? And she's like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. But they were their neighbors, the Rajneeshis, for like a year or something.
I have said that the number one reason I could not be in that cult is because I don't look good in maroon. If they had picked a different color combo, I might have been down for it.
But I always tell people, all you need to know is that the show opens with a red carpet being rolled out and then people playing flutes while someone uses a dustbuster on the carpet. And that is really just the entree into a buffet of craziness.
Exactly. I know. I should binge watch both of them back to back. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Extreme Makeover Home Edition or the Swan?
Swan. Way more interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that's someone's psychological problems where you're like, what happened to you for you to be in this position? Home makeover. Plus, I interviewed somebody who was a producer, and it was like there were so many bells and whistles that have to go with it, and they have to get free things, and then some people didn't keep the house up, and I'm just like, oh, that's depressing.
Also, no one likes type
bust their ass to get you a new house, then you can't keep it up. Like, oh, I hate you.
Yeah.
Real world versus road rules versus the challenge. You have three choices there.
I'm gonna go. It goes real world, road rules, then the challenge is the bottom one. My favorite from road rules will always be my friend Mark Long and then Kit Hoover. Their romance.
Oh, I love that. Oh,
still makes me happy today. But Mark Long is not only super handsome still, he's a real sexy dude.
He's the blonde, right?
Yes, but he's so funny and nice. He's like the nicest person in the world.
I'm like a lifelong CTer.
Really?
From the beginning. Yeah.
I'm worried about you. Yeah,
I know. I can understand why.
Yeah,
I know. And I'm not into saving a guy or anything. My husband's like the most mild-mannered, sweet guy, but like something about CT, I just love him. I always have since Real World Paris. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, is it me?
Yeah.
The Great British Baking Show versus Nailed It.
Great British Baking Show. Because
it's coming back. It's coming back on.
It's funny for 2 episodes, and then I'm like, this is a bummer. But British my mom was a pastry chef, so I think I just have more of an appreciation for their talent.
It's like a Zoloft for me. Like when I'm having an anxiety attack, and I actually recently was on Netflix. I think I texted you. There's a whole section that they just added on Netflix that's called Relaxing British Reality Television.
Which is interesting because my friend Brian Moylan is now living in London, and we do a whole episodes about British reality shows and PR pants because some of them are batshit crazy. Like one's called Sex Box, where the couple comes out and there's a box on the stage and you were introduced to this couple who have never met. And it's like, pleased to meet you. And then they go in the box and they have sex while the host is on, kind of just still talking to people in the audience. Like, how's it going? The weather's crazy. And you're seeing the shadows and then they come out and they discuss what they thought of it.
I gotta watch that. That might be, wow. What's it called?
Sex
box. All right.
It really gets right to the point.
It would never air in the United States of America. There's
that one reality show. I forget where it's from. I watched it on YouTube where it's all you see is the man's penis. It's a dating show. Have you heard of this? I'll have to send it to you. My uncle sent it to me. Yeah. It's basically a dating show, and you can't see the person's top or bottom, and the woman picks, and slowly you see more of the person until you see their whole body. But the woman basically picks who she wants to date based off their dick.
Interesting. Good for her.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess.
I'll send you the link.
That's interesting because I've never understood people that send dick pics because I'm like, I don't think I would really give a crap.
No.
I don't want to see that. No.
But anyway, it's a fun show to watch. Again, would never air here. Okay. What not to wear versus how do I look?
What not to wear.
Me too.
A classic.
Like a little bit nicer.
Yeah. And also they just did a good job.
I heard Stacey and Clinton hated each other.
They had a big falling out. They've blocked each other, everything. How about Jersey Shore versus Party Down South?
Hard one, and I'll tell you why. I love Mike the Situation. I found him to be one of my favorite guests. He's a really nice person. Then I interviewed a guy from Party Down South, and his name is, I forget right this second.
Big Poppy or whatever?
he shares it with somebody else who's like equally famous.
Yes. He has blonde, like bleached blonde hair.
And he's like really funny, and he has a deep, thick accent. And he reviewed The Real Housewives of some city for me, and I remember just laughing so hard. That's a hard one. I'm gonna go with Jersey Shore because the more the people I enjoy. Like I think Pauly D is probably a really nice person.
Yes.
You know,
awful to
I
date
feel like
though.
he would be not. Yeah, I don't want to date. I wouldn't date any of them. I wouldn't even. No, I wouldn't even set foot into that disgusting Jersey Shore home. But I think they're nice people.
I am from the Jersey Shore, so that will always be my pick because I know people like that.
But we say go down the shore, right? We're not.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't go to the Jersey Shore. You say you go down the shore.
Yeah.
Right.
At least we do in Philadelphia.
Yes. I'm from right outside Philadelphia. I didn't hear you say like the weird Philly. You don't really have a Philly accent. You don't say water.
I have. Yeah, there are things. Like I say marriage, I say family, I say tournament.
I say family. Yeah. And I say water. Yeah.
I don't say water. That I have to say I don't say that. But I will tell you that my kids have Philly accents. Like they say I saw it.
Yeah.
And I don't correct them because I want them to have street cred.
And I say wouldn't, couldn't, and shouldn't like a Philly girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I'm into it. Yeah.
Little tough. Singled out versus next.
Singled out because my friend is Jenny McCarthy.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good reason.
That's a good reason.
How about Keeping Up with the Kardashians or the Osbournes?
Osbournes. I just think that first episode where she throws the ham is just one of the greatest moments in reality television ever. I like their family dynamic.
I was just going to say, I think that actually their family really likes each other a lot.
Aside from the divorce. Yeah.
No, but they, even with the divorce, they still kind of like each other. I feel like this is me maybe being foolish, but I feel like they're a good family.
I agree.
They're a good family.
I agreed from day one. And that show really changed, I think, with Newlyweds really just changed television.
I also think that they were such quirky personalities. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, they all turn into the same robots.
Yes.
They literally, you see a picture of them, you can't tell who's who.
No. And I feel like there's a lot of restraint on their part, which I understand because like Kim has 4 children and God knows what's going on with her husband and she's trying to protect them. And I think that the nice thing about Osbournes were their kids were in middle school level. So they were a little bit more in on the joke. And Ozzy's just like such a space cadet that it made for very funny television.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So to close it out, this is our giveaway question this week is if you had a reality show about your life, what would it be called? Do you have a name?
I think if there's a reality show for me, it would be for people to go witness myself and my sister go back to Philadelphia to try to mend a relationship with my parents, specifically my dad, who looks like the Unabomber with thick Irish hair and speaks with an Irish accent, although he's from Philadelphia. And he goes by a new name. His name's William Paul, but now he goes by Liam because it sounds more Irish. And he tells cockamamie stories about how he was part of the Irish peace process. He has created a whole different new imaginary life. And to watch me try to have conversations with him while my sister rolls her eyes would probably be quite funny. But also, I think us confronting him, like, why did you walk away? And then maybe he and my mom, who still hate each other, talking. I think that would be fascinating.
It would be like when I watch Hoarders, I'm always fascinated when they have the therapist come in as part of it to really talk about what started before, as I feel like that would be your show, not Hoarders, but you would have the therapist come with you. And then I feel like that would be a good show.
But I'd have to have a therapist that was funny.
Of course.
Like I turn to them, I'm like, can you believe this shit? Like, this is banana, right?
Right.
Not somebody who's too stiff and, somebody who's like, oh my God, these people are totally weird. I get it.
You can use my therapist friend. She's amazing.
Okay.
She's very funny. And she looks like Frances McDormand. So I feel like that
is exactly what I picture her to look like.
She looks like Frances McDormand.
Yeah.
So she's very funny. She'll be like, no, don't listen to him. He's full of shit.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. And we would have to go into his apartment with like a hazmat suit on. But
I want to see this reality show.
But he has a girlfriend, and I'm always like, how could his girlfriend asked me when she first met me what my middle name was. My middle name is my mom's name. and it's Suzanne. And so I went to answer. She asked me, what's your middle name? And I as I'm about to say Suzanne, he interrupts and says, it's Mary. And I said, actually not. It's my mom's name, Suzanne. And then he looks at his girlfriend and he goes, well, I don't know. That's what she told me. I mean, it's just like a series of
It's
things.
funny, but not funny, but
Right.
it's funny again.
Right.
No, he played part of a documentary narrated by Bono about the Irish peace process. And I wouldn't look at it, and he's explaining to my husband, like, well, you know, I narrated that, or I took part in this. And then all of a sudden you hear his voice, and he's like, well, then I was in the bell tower with his accent, his fake accent. And my husband asked him, like, so you were in the bell tower? And he winks at him and he said, oh, it's just Hollywood. No, it's not Hollywood. It's a documentary. You lied. You lied. Bono's the narrator. You're a horrible person. But then he's like kind of funny. So you're like, heads or tails.
I really, you know, honestly, I'd watch it.
He's kind of funny. He has my memory, but for dates in history. So if you, two things, if you ask him like, what year did Mary Queen of Scots, like whatever, and he can recall it. But he also knows every Catholic church in every city of anywhere. So if you're like, I'm from Topeka, Kansas, and he'd say, did you go to Our Lady Mother of Aloysius on Walnut Street? And you're like, what?
Oh,
it's
fun
like
fact.
Weird. He's super, super religious.
Fun fact, Mark Consuelos is similar, but with strip clubs. So he used to be at Chippendales, and I was on All My Children with them. And
of course you were.
He would ask, he would be like, oh, where are you from? And I'm from a town called Margate. No one's ever heard it. It's right by Atlantic City. And he listed the two, he's like cheetahs and volcanic eruptions. I was like, yeah. I was like, how do you know that? He's like, I was at Chippendale and I used to go around to these things. He can name the strip club in any town.
That might be the only thing I've ever heard about Mark Consuelos that's actually worth remembering.
And relatable at the same time in a very odd way, because volcanic eruptions is the greatest name for a strip joint.
Oh, fantastic.
Like, I got to put that in my back pocket for something.
It was right next to the Chili's at the Hamilton Mall.
Of course it was. Of course.
Kate, thank you so much for joining us. This was like so much fun.
So fun.
Thank you.
Everyone that's watching right now, Kate is actually going to be on our podcast next week as well. So make sure you listen to that on Wednesday. Can you plug yourself? Tell everyone where to find you, all that fun stuff.
You can listen to my show wherever you listen to podcasts, Reality Life with Kate Casey. Make sure you subscribe and leave a 5-star review. And you can find me on Twitter at Kate Casey. I tweet about shows and during shows all week long. My Instagram is at Kate Casey CA. You can say who I'm interviewing each week and what I watch, because I always post. And I give you a must-watch list every Tuesday. These are the things you must watch this week. It's your homework. And I have a Patreon page with added bonus podcast episodes, patreon.com/Kate Casey. Lots of life anecdotes, true crime, right up your alley.
I gotta make it a point to like look at your stuff every single day, because it's like everything I want to watch.
So good.
Yeah, and those lists are really important. The Tuesday list is like, and people will write to me and they're like, thank God, because we all like at the end of the night, you're like, what am I gonna watch? What are you gonna watch?
This is what we need for this pandemic.
Right.
This is what we need. Listen,
thank you.
I'm not gonna solve COVID. I'm not, but I can give you some good TV to watch.
Good.
We'll take it. That's all I need.
That's what I need. Well,
that's
thank you
how
so
I
much,
can be a
Kate.
hero.
Yeah. Thanks for being part of our Momtourage.
Thank you guys. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So we have super fun giveaway time. We got a lot of good responses.
You didn't mention Bravo as much as you did, so I'm having to have this drink on my own.
Sorry. I'm
it's
sorry.
Like really melty today. Anyway, go ahead.
We've got some good ones. We've got Mom Has Lost Her Mind. Bumping Around with Stephanie, which is particularly good because that Stephanie owns Stowaway Collection, which is for maternity clothing.
That's a good one. Bumping Around, yep.
Doomsday Learning. I like that, but I have to say, may I pick the winner?
Yes, please.
I'm gonna go with Stephanie. And Mom, put down the tequila. It's 2 p.m. So congratulations, Stephanie.
I was like, are you talking to me?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That direct address to the
home.
camera, I wasn't really sure who that was.
We're going to message you. You are going home with, or having sent to your home, a Momtourage Mommy Juice wine tumbler.
Keeps your shit cold.
Keeps it cold, keeps it luscious. So we'll be sending that to you. Thank you so much for watching. And let's do our hashtag swag bag.
All right,
real
hashtag
quick.
swag bag. Do you want to go first this
I'm
week?
gonna go first. So this is my hashtag swag bag pick. It's a quote from Dorinda on my favorite all-time reality show,
Cheers, Dorinda.
Real Housewives
Finally.
of New York. Drink.
I need this shirt.
I'll tell you how I'm doing. Not well, bitch. This shirt's by Gold Half Moon. She has an Etsy shop. It's $29. You will find links to all of this in our show recap tomorrow on Instagram, which is at Momtourage Podcast. So make sure you check that out.
So most of you know I'm completely beauty obsessed. I had kind of given up a little bit of my harder core skincare routine, but now in the pandemic, it's giving me a little bit of extra time to give my skin some TLC. And I found, I'm going to butcher the name of this because it's fancy. It's a CBD mask, which helps with inflammation. Mask. The over the mask. It's the Luminous with 2 S's, CBD mask. And as I mentioned before, I've been having a lot of cystic acne. And so inflammation has been a real issue with my face. And so this has CBD in it. Ooh, mask. You can get it at www.mask. You don't say www, do you?
No.
That's like
That's
an old
a
lady
given.
thing. That's an old
It's a given.
http:// maskskincare.com, and there'll be a link to this online. And I really like to put it in the refrigerator for just a little bit, so it's a little bit cool.
I have a bunch of sheet masks in my meat drawer.
Ew,
I know, isn't
sounds
that weird?
dirty. But anyway, love this. It's USDA certified organic as well, which you know is important to me. I mean, maybe you don't know. I don't know. It's important.
Now
to me, is
you
what I'm
know.
trying to say. Now you know. So there's our swag bag.
Guys, what a great show.
What a
That
great
was
show.
so fun.
Thank you again to Standard Wormwood Agave Tequila. It is
So
freaking
good.
delicious.
So good. It's delicious. The Paloma is so good with it.
I love supporting local small batch distilleries.
Yeah, and this is small batch. It has the batch number on it, just so you know. Thank you to Matt for being our control room director. As always, thank you to Lee for all that you do.
Thanks to Clementine.
Thank you
our
to
stage dog.
Our stage
Sorry,
dog.
I'll cover up her privates.
Don't show that. Lastly, I just want to let you guys know that if you talk about us to your friends on social media and you tag us, we will send you a little thank you gift. You just have to make sure that you tag us in that. I have just posted a link to the Facebook invite for next week's show. So make sure you click on that link. Head there. It'll send you a reminder for next week's show, which is going to be super fun, an adult sleepover themed episode. We are going to have Mama Drama, the all-mom band that does our theme song, performing live. We are going to have tarot card readings. We are going to have some Botox talk.
Big reveals.
Big reveals. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you are there next Thursday.
Bye, guys.
Love you.
Mwah.
Okay, that's our show today, folks. Thank you so much for giving us a listen. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. We are out here on our own, and these things really, really matter.
We want to hear from you. Tell us what you want to hear. Email us at momtouragepod@gmail.com.
Follow us on Instagram at Momtourage Podcast to hang out with us all week long.
We are here for you. You are not alone. We got you. So go ahead, girl. Know this posse is behind you and go slay. Momtourage is written and produced by Ashley Hearon-smith and Carrie Sotero. Recorded and mixed by Lee Mars. Our theme song, MILF, is by the band Mama Drama. You can find them on Instagram at Mama Drama Band or mamadramaband.com.